Mr. Vaidiswaran. Mr. Agnelorajesh is the chairman of St. Angelo's VNCT Ventures. He is a serial entrepreneur with interest in real estate development, technology, investment, and hospitality and social initiatives. Mr. Amitraj is a director of Pricewaterhouse with more than 12 years of experience in real estate and merger and acquisitions. Mr. Vaidiswaran is a corporate lawyer and tax consultant with over 27 years of experience in matters pertaining to taxes, including international taxation. Rajesh, what are your views on joint venture, especially with the liberalizing of the FDA norms? Many strategic partners are being looked after. So there are a lot of opportunities for joint venture strategy.
So what I feel is we always assume FDI to be bringing in of the money, foreign money into the country, but it's not only the money part. If you technically see, FDIs are experts in the sectors that they invest in. So when they come and invest in India for real estate, they not only bring the money, but they also bring the expertise and the vision. What's critically to be noted here is, ultimately the customer will get a very valuable product. The selection criteria of the investor with the developer with whom the FDI will invest is going to be a filtered one. They will check their track record, they will check that vision of that particular developer, and then they will partner with them. So I feel when you bring in FDI to the country, the quality standards of development is going to be dramatically improved. There will be competition, there will be competence, there will be a quality product, there will be visionary planning, there will be master planning. There are a lot of host of benefits that will happen in these kind of joint ventures. Like when you see at Dubai, you need to have a local partner. Now there are some new rules that have come up, but they always needed a local partner to develop this country. Similarly in India, when FDI comes in, they want a strong local partner who has experience, exposure, expertise in the sector of real estate development. So I think it is a marriages of the might. And the people with the money, strategy, vision, ideas come to India, and the people who are very well established locally, they get married to such FDI funds, and ultimately the country benefits at large because you get a better infrastructure. They bring in the international standards to India, and overall the country develops. What I feel is the rest of the world will develop India as a fantastic country for real estate development. I foresee that happening very rapidly.
Mr. Rajesh, how can real estate be a good investment module?
Well, when we talk about FDI, we already spoke about the quality and the competence part of it, and it can be a great model because once upon a time, the population of the country was considered as a curse on the country, but today, that is the biggest strength. With more than 1.25 billion Indians, housing is definitely a biggest requirement that the country is facing. In fact, our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has the vision of creating 5 crore new houses by 2022, which means a couple of thousand houses need to be made every day. When we talk about this scale of requirement, automatically there is going to be a demand and supply gap. So when I say demand and supply, we also talk about stories where real estate market is a little sluggish for the last 2-3 years in a country like India, but probably that was a mismatch of the product and the price. The word value is improving on the depth, the meaning of the word value is deepening further. So people today will buy real estate if they assume of getting gold at the price of silver. Only then there will be a buyer. Now that competition, because of the competition, it is happening. When you market the right product to the right audience, people buy, and when people buy, demand increases. Whenever we talk about a set locality, a new locality is being set up, it will have a different price band. And in a span of 2 to 5 years, the demand multiplies because the supply is short. And that is where appreciation happens. In fact, we are very proud to say that India is one of the only countries on planet Earth today where there is a positive appreciation in real estate prices. Most of the developed countries are not having appreciation. Forget about appreciation, they also lose on their capital value after it is purchased. So there is no question of a investment being done in the asset class of real estate. When you talk about real estate in the Indian perspective, it is unlike a stock market or unlike the gold market where you don't get to leverage of buying gold or stock. Whereas in the real estate, you contribute 5%, 10% or 20%, balance comes from financial institutions, and it is a definite investment booster. It gives great returns. The simple calculation is, on a 1 crore property, if I invest 20 lakhs as my contribution, and the bank funds me 80 lakhs, I can go to as much as 25 to 30 years of repayment period. Within 3 to 5 years, against my 20 lakhs, I would get an appreciation of 40-50 lakhs if the property appreciates to 1.5 crore. Against an investment of 20 lakhs, when you're talking about a return of 50 lakhs in a span of 3 to 5 years, that is phenomenal returns and assured, because your money is not invested in stock which is very volatile. It can go anywhere, which is not like gold, where you have to put the whole capital together. This real estate can be then popped off to create that kind of a revenue model. Like my colleague just said, that in India now, your capital gains is come down from 3 years to 2 years. That makes it all the more interesting to make sure that you exit. Now, when I say about appreciation, it does not mean flipping of properties. Over a period of time, the family which has bought a 2 BHK needs a 3 BHK. So they move on. When they move on, their third bedroom gets funded by the sale of the second bedroom, the 2-bedroom house. They go a little further. In the same amount, they can buy their own real estate. There is no other investment which will make money for its own for expansion in terms of sizes for end user benefits. So I think this is a fantastic model which is visible only in India as a country.
Mr. Rajesh, how should NRI go about buying a property in the changing scenario?
Well, it's a very hugely changing scenario, and with FDI happening for completed project like malls. Malls have gone in a wrong direction in our country, technically. They are not good earning potential projects. So when they are getting bought over by FDIs, the same developers are now reinvesting that FDI money that they have gotten into housing projects. So housing is really going to see very brighter side in India as a country, and housing as a product. NRIs will now be super protected like any local Indians also. NRI Indians also will get protected with RERA coming up. In fact, I would like to go and claim ahead saying that with RERA coming in, India will be one of the safest property investment destinations in the world. And we all know there is a great demand, the supply is short, price correction has happened. People today are educated buyers. They know what the price, what the product should be priced at and what it should be sold at. So it's an educated buyer. This is giving rise to a very new kind of a market where today the builder cannot build what he thinks can be sold. Today he builds on the market response for the project that he should be developing. So NRIs can, the fear on the NRI mind was always that they invest the money in India, but they are not in the country to monitor the progress of the product that they have invested in. So they were always fearful that their money might be locked or blocked or being misused. Now that fear is gone. In fact, in the country, already actions have started on people who have defaulted in the past commitment made to people, not only to NRIs, but also to the local buyers. The scenario is changing. It will be an absolutely regulated market. Abnormal profits in real estate industry is a myth now. There cannot be abnormal profits. Real estate is also becoming like a factory. Like a typical factory would have a profit margin of 6 to 12%. So even in real estate, very shortly, even if you make 15 to 18%, it will be considered as one of the most lucrative industries. So with profit margins coming down, the end user will definitely benefit with a better product at a better price. So I think the NRIs, there is a great inflow of foreign investors, the Indian NRIs, buying big time into India, especially from Middle East, from Europe, from US, from UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. People are just pouring in, and a major percentage of the new buying which is happening is by the dollars which are coming in through NRI Indians.
Okay. Mr. Rajesh, that there has been a lot of revised norms now established for NRIs. What do you consider as the instrumental factors to really improve the investment among NRIs?
NRIs are always at a benefit. So now, currently the rupee is behaving a little stronger to the dollar, but NRIs are at a major benefit because at less dollars they can buy more rupees and invest in the real estate sector. They not only get the appreciation of the property, but they also get the difference in the dollar currency benefits that they have got. A lot of investors have benefited that in the past also. NRIs are looking towards investments because investments in real estate in the countries that they live in do not see any appreciation. There they buy real estate only to use it as an end user. Every NRI Indian has got his own connectivity, emotional connectivity with India. With the growing story and India being flashed across the world, which is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, a lot of Indians living abroad are buying units in India. They are getting it at a better price. They have seen the price differences of what it was in the past and what it is now. They are also visualizing the quality difference which used to be once upon a time and which is available today. They are also seeing the change scenario of the government rules and regulations. So I think it has overall boosted up the confidence of NRIs, and NRIs are purely investing into India. One is from the investment perspective where their capital grows, and second is for their end use. But end use can be 1 or 2 units. Beyond that, they look at it as a fantastic, safe capital investment.
Mr. Rajesh, you could continue. What is the difference between investing in metro cities and investing on the outskirts of prominent metros?
So metro cities are today becoming too expensive for regular buying. Unless and until it is your end user requirement, there are not a lot of people who are looking at buying in metro cities like Mumbai, Chennai, Calcutta, Bangalore or Delhi. These metros, on the periphery of those metros within 100 kilometers, there is the growth prospects happening because every city is growing on all possible roads that lead out of that particular metro city. It is being seen in the last 3 to 5 years that a lot of development is happening in those zones, and that is the growth zone where your initial investment becomes nominal, and along with the growth of the city, your investment grows. So metros definitely is not a great destination to invest if it is an investment with growth perspective. As an end user, if you have a specific requirement in any part of a metro city, it's a different story. But definitely the periphery of a metro within 100 kilometers is a sure shot no-brainer. It will be an investment which will appreciate like nobody's business.
Okay. Mr. Rajesh, this is addressed to you. RERA in its original form is strong and benefiting the system, but state governments are making it toothless. What are your views?
Well, no developer back home in India can manage nuisance value. So what is the strength of RERA will be seen when it unfolds on the 1st of May onwards in a couple of states. I am from Maharashtra, so I know for sure from 1st of May the RERA gets implemented. In fact, the complete backup system has been created by Tata Consultancy Services. So I won't be surprised if there are no errors on the functionality of the system. The strength of RERA will be known only after it is implemented. But let me tell you, people are so well aware about all these rules and regulations that if a buyer really wants to take a developer for a ride, if he's been misguided by the developer or being cheated to some extent, he can really make his life miserable because the government has taken this particular section for investments in real estate very, very seriously. Now, these are already in practice. RERA is not launched in a city like Mumbai, but the last 2 years for major developers in Mumbai, people who have invested in Mumbai might second that. Major developers in Mumbai are facing the heat. They are put behind bars for months together. Some developers, large names who are dealing in hundreds and thousands of crores, are behind bars for a period of more than 8 months. So the seriousness is there. The buyer has become very demanding. He knows if the developer is not going to live to his commitment, without RERA being in force also, a RERA-like situation has happened in a couple of metro cities in India. So I think RERA is the best thing to happen to India, and I'm sure a lot of buyers will get the due justice which was denied to them in the absence of such a law.
Okay. Mr. Rajesh, you can answer this. How investor should select a real estate project for doing foreign investment as well as doing partnership?
It's very simple now. With RERA coming in, selection of where to invest becomes easy. The entire profile and the biodata of the developer is going to be on the site. The past performance, if there are any current criminal or civil cases, the title of the property, everything has to be adjudicated before he starts sales. People in Dubai are well versed with the RERA rules in Dubai. In fact, the rules in India are become more stringent than that. The profile will be mentioned, which will give you an idea whether it is the right group that you are investing with or not. The past performance, communication with the past customers. Today, social media has made the whole world into a small village. So you Google any developer's name or any company's name, you get your experience, their experiences with the development organization or the developers. You can then ultimately select on the basis, beginning with the quality of the developer in terms of his character, quality of the company in terms of the past performance, and definitely if it is permitted to sell, it has got all clearances in place without which they cannot sell. So I think these are some brilliant times coming up, and some very serious shopping in the real estate is happening already, and a lot of Indians staying abroad are taking advantage of the scenario. Okay. And this is just beginning. So another good news is suddenly you will have a very short supply, because for the qualification under RERA, the government is going to launch it on 1st of May in a place like Maharashtra. And compliances are being given 3 months. So June, July, August will be the compliances period. Almost 60% of the developers might not be able to comply also. So suddenly there will be a short supply. all purchases which are happening now currently will suddenly see a sharp rise in the investments that they have done because of short supply. So I think there are champion investors in the real estate as a sector to invest in who will take advantage of this short-term challenge which the country will face. I didn't get your question.
With the land cost already high and locked in, is there room to reduce the cost in the above sector?
Well, that's the reason there is a complete dip in sales in the heart of the metro cities. And it is becoming not possible to buy at those prices. That's the reason the city is moving away from the city and creating a new city. Like a place like Mumbai is already seeing Thane as as good as a city like Mumbai with the better prices. Mumbai has also seen Navi Mumbai. Now we are talking about Maha Mumbai. Now we are also talking about the city going up to Nasik, going up to Pune. In the next 5 to 10 years time, there won't be a gap between Mumbai and Pune. Lona is oversaturated, overdeveloped. All the patches are being developing till Khopoli. So these are places around Mumbai for the people who are not from Mumbai. What I want to say is that the market is correcting the prices now. The customer is correcting the prices now. When the land is expensive, the product becomes more expensive. People don't buy. That's it. The best punishment that you give to a expensively priced product is not buying it. There cannot be a better punishment for that. So people are learning these flaws. They are moving away from the city. New cities are being created and they are the opportunity zones. Simple.
I agree with you, Mr. Rajesh. See, we have seen in southern cities, particularly when we have made some in-depth survey, in Chennai the land prices have come down by 30%. But the landlords are still reluctant to bring down the prices. So they are well aware, but the problem is in today, not only in Chennai and other southern cities where the survey was extended, there are intermediaries, brokers who spoil the landlords. So even after telling them that you can't sell on outright basis in today's situation, go for joint venture development, there are reputed developers who have a time-bound plan. They are still ignorant about the whole thing. So only time will provide the fitting answer. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the first session. And thank you very much, Mr. Amit Raj and Mr. Rajesh, for their valuable input.
Thank you.
Of giving us an overview about the liberalized FDI regime and the need for taking up the real estate investment as an investment option by Mr. Rajesh. Thank you very much. Mr. Rajesh, how do the Mumbai developers view it?
Well, GST definitely is a welcome move. It was being discussed for the last 9 years. Ultimately, I think very shortly we'll see the light of the day. GST will definitely boost up sales because that will be bringing down the cost for the buyer. It is not a choice anymore whether the developer can make more margins because of competition. He'll have to succumb to the pressures of the customer's requirements and the benefits will pass on to the customer. So it becomes more convenient for the customer to buy a similar product at a better price. We assume that the taxes would be below 20%. If what the gentleman says it will be 18%, it is fantastic. It's not still defined clearly. If it is 18%, fantastic, because currently the tax structure sucks out almost 22 to 25%. The challenge in our system is not the multiple taxes, the headaches related to that. A buyer is ready to pay those taxes, but most of the times he doesn't understand it. There are a lot of times that developers have also not understood the taxes well, so sometimes taxes are double charged. So ultimately the customer is losing, even the developer is losing, because that is not going to his pockets. Government doesn't want extra money from the people, but unknowingly they are getting it in the form of double taxation. Now, the entire madness is going to be coming out into a proper system. So it is going to be a lot convenient. The transparency of price will come in place. The buyer will know what he has to pay. The developer will know what has to be collected, how much has to be paid to the government. Simplification by itself is going to increase in sales. Because a lot of people, because of these confusions, are, stuck most of the time. So I think there will be fantastic clarity. It will help the real estate sector to grow faster.
Mr. Rajesh, is it possible to quantify the cumulative benefit to a consumer?
Well, it can be quantified today in terms of percentages only. He will save around 2 to 5% depending on what the government declares as GST on real estate. But more than that, like I said, I would like to say again, simplification will be the biggest motivator. It's not the benefit of that 2 to 5%, although that also estimates to be a good saving to the customer. It has to be passed on to the customer. But more than that, that simplicity will be very, very advantageous. And on the warehousing bit that you said, I'm sure it is going to get more organized because of GST. Lot of decisions that the warehousing industry took were basically not a choice. They were compulsions due to so many multiple tax formats in the country. So that simplification will happen. There also cost savings will happen. So ultimately in India, when you save money, when you save a lot of money, you either buy gold or you buy property. Gold has become very expensive, so we anticipate them to buy properties.
Against the background of RERA and GST, Mr. Rajesh, what are your views on affordable housing?
Affordable housing are going to become more affordable, for sure. Whenever there is a transparency in any country, like in India, GST is happening, RERA is happening almost simultaneously. There is another dangerous act being implemented, Benami Transactions Act. That is again going to be very interesting. With all these things happening, transparency coming in, accountability setting in place, a lot of FDI will flow into India. When a lot of FDI flows into India, a lot of development is going to happen. Ultimately, the money is going to go to the people's pockets in one way or the other. The span is going to improve. Every FDI is like a businessman like you and me. They have got the options of investing in 5 different countries. They avoid the countries where there are complications in law because they are scared that their investments might get stuck up. With the laws becoming so positive, a lot of FDIs have already started getting into the country. So we see a big story happening. When you see a lot of money flowing into the country, a lot of competition arises. When a lot of competition arises, the customer will gain in 2 aspects. One is in price, second is in quality. In both the ways, the customer wins. Ultimately, we all know today, only if the customer wins, the business will sustain and survive. So that is going to be possible by this government enactions, which are going to be happening very shortly. And every government authority today is more than happy to implement even a half-understood law. This is a fully understood law now. So RERA, GST, Benami Transactions Act, every household in India is getting educated on that because they might be seeing this session today for 2-3 hours, but in India, these sessions are happening every day on 100 channels, 4 hours a evening. So everybody is getting educated, and these are fantastic signs for the future of the country.
What is a designer home and what differentiates it from an investment perspective?
Well, in India, we are very used to designer homes in places like Dubai. Of course, that is a masterpiece. Dubai is a masterpiece where it comes as a first mover for everything, including real estate. Designer homes are now becoming a fad in India also. Designer homes are something where the quality is assured, a design is different, it's a signature product, it's the pride of ownership. Like why does a person buy a Mercedes? Because a Mercedes, even though a Mercedes does what a Maruti does, taking you from one location and dropping you to the next location. But a Maruti will not give you the comfort of a Mercedes, it will not give you the status of the Mercedes, the psychological advantage, the confidence, it's totally different. So designer homes are now making inroads in India. The challenge today with people who are doing luxury brands in India is, again, getting the right audience and the right price point. Just because you are building designer homes, it does not mean that you can charge dollar pricing in Indian rupees. Then there are no buyers. So this market is getting created very rapidly in India, and people are now witnessing the taste that Indians are holding. So you see the Versace's and Gucci's and the Fendi's and all of them and the designers in India like Suzanne Khan, Rohit Bal, all of the dress designers, fashion designers are also coming to designer homes. It assures you quality, it assures you style, it assures you a signature product compared to the market. So I think it's a thumbprint that you create in a crowded real estate market. That is the difference between a luxury home and a regular home.
Okay. We are wrapping up the session. Thank you, Mr. Vaidiswaran and Mr. Rajesh.
Thank you.
As Mr. Vaidiswaran correctly said, the provisions of RERA and the impact of the GST all are going to be a game changer. It is going to really change the way in which the real estate sector is going to operate in future. That will send the right signals to the foreign investors. They will be encouraged to really pump in more investment in the Indian real estate sector. With this, we conclude the session. Thank you very much for your passionate hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nagarajan, Mr. Vaidiswaran, Mr. Rajesh, for the wonderful session. I think there was a lot of interesting insights